Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Carey Center in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Today on the PAC Sports Network, the 6th-ranked Thomas More Saints visit the St. Vincent Bearcats. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles for today's action. And Justin, you really can't get a better doubleheader than what we have here today. And first, the women's action, the undefeated Thomas More Saints, 14-0 overall, 7-0 in PAC play. The St. Vincent Bearcats, they are 10-4 overall and undefeated in PAC play as well at 7-0. The winner of this one will have sole possession of first place at the midway point in the President's Athletic Conference.
Yeah, huge game with regards to conference standings. Obviously, these teams will meet again at least one more time during the regular season at the end of the season. But right now, it's as good as it gets for a mid-season basketball game. Mid-season doubleheader, obviously, with the men's games with similar ramifications coming up after this. But real excited again, always excited to see Thomas More. They come in here undefeated, nationally ranked, very talented, and St. Vincent's here trying to stop them, trying to assert themselves as one of the teams to beat, maybe even the team to beat in the PAC if they can score the upset here today. One of the big things coming into this game was Thomas More has been just rolling through conference teams. Their last two games, they put up 113 points and 116 points, and just trying to slow down the Saints defensively at St. Vincent. That's going to be their huge challenge today.
Yeah, the Thomas More Saints have been a well-oiled machine all season long. They've put up over 100 points 3 times, including their last 2 games. On Wednesday, a 116-49 win at Westminster. Katie Kitchen most recently scoring her 1,000th point of her career, that on January 8th against Geneva. And Sydney Moss, again named to the D3Hoops.com National Team of the Week. That's the 3rd time this season she has received that honor. So up and down the roster, the Thomas More Saints have been impressive. And also, haven't mentioned Devin Beasley in the win over Westminster. She set a Thomas More single game record with 14 assists. So a lot has been made of Sydney Moss. She's the headliner, but she makes everyone on this Thomas More team better, and it's evident by the statistics that the others have put up. And as you talked about, Justin, St. Vincent, obviously no matter who takes on the Thomas More Saints, it's a tall task, but St. Vincent has the fact that they're on their home floor, playoff atmosphere we're expecting today, so that's always a benefit to the homestanding team. The Saints lead this all-time series 11-2 against St. Vincent, but St. Vincent has won 2 of its last 4 home games against Thomas More, and that's something that certainly they'll be thinking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big keys, as always, when you play Thomas More, having to take care of the ball, and the pressure is going to be not just on the St. Vincent guards today, but St. Vincent as a team. It needs to be a collective effort, just even getting the ball across midcourt. Thomas More thrives on turnovers, thrives in transition, and that's going to be a huge key for St. Vincent. Just how do they deal with that Thomas More press? It seems like we say that all the time when we're talking about these teams, or whichever team's matched up against Thomas More, but just that's how they score their points, that's how they score in bunches, and it really made games kind of over in the first couple of minutes. Talking with Coach Jimmy Petruska of St. Vincent, one of the things he was saying was trying to take it to Thomas More, just even in the first couple minutes, get the Saints reeling a little bit, maybe get them down, and then see what kind of game develops from there. But I think, and I agree with him, the first couple minutes of this game definitely crucial. You definitely don't want to have a snowball type of effect happen when you're playing Thomas More, letting them score bunches in transition, and before you know it, a 2-4 point lead turns into 10, and you really have an uphill climb after that.
We were at W&J earlier this month when Thomas More was visiting the Presidents, and W&J started the game in the first couple of minutes the way you would have wanted. 7-4 lead, in the atmosphere at the Henry Memorial Center was in W&J's favor, but Thomas More was unfazed. They rattled off a quick run, and really from that point on the game was over. And that's exactly what you're talking about. The first few minutes of this game will be very important, as St. Vincent will have to, at least in the first couple of minutes, be similar to what W&J had done, but carry that on into an extended run, or keep Thomas More from any extended runs as this game moves along. And that's something that also, in contrast, Thomas More's head coach Jeff Hands had spoken of, is that he wants to eliminate St. Vincent runs in this game. Obviously, the Saints have a lot of respect for this Bearcats team because of the fact that they have had success at the Bearcats in recent years here at home against Thomas More. So they want to eliminate any extended runs and also stop St. Vincent in their transition game if possible.
Yeah, and one of the ways W&J was successful in that game was scoring down low. They had several talented forwards: Becca Belhide, Chelsea Abke, and Valerie Dunlap. St. Vincent has a talented forward also Taylor Mathers, and they're going to try and maybe work the ball down low, maybe find a little bit of success with her, and maybe get that defense collapsing a little bit, and we'll open up the outside shots. So Bearcats are been pretty versatile the last couple seasons with regards to scoring, and again, kind of this year also. They're just a very young team, a little less experienced than we've seen the last couple of years. So dealing with Thomas More, it's a tall task for them. But I really think the first couple of minutes so crucial in this game. You're almost maybe playing and coaching these first couple of minutes like they're the last couple of minutes in a game, just regards to how precious the first couple of possessions will be.
Oh, just about ready for the national anthem here at the Carey Center. We'll pause for a break. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Main Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Starting lineups first for the visiting Saints, led by third-year head coach Jeff Hands.
And welcome back to the Carey Center in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. The starting lineups coming to you here momentarily, and we'll give you the starting 5 for each team with the visiting Thomas More Saints up first, led by third-year head coach Jeff Hands, number 4, 5'8" senior Katie Kitchen. Number 14, 5'7" senior Devin Beasley. Number 24, 5'5" junior Sydney Wainscott. Number 25, 5'10" junior Jenny Burgoyne. And number 40, 5'10" sophomore Sydney Moss. Again, for the Saints, it's Kitchen, Beasley, Wainscott, Burgoyne, and Moss. For the St. Vincent Bearcats, led by head coach Jimmy Petruska. Number 0, 6'2" senior Taylor Mathers. Number 3, 5'5" sophomore Jillian Kegg. Number 4, 5'6" junior Elle Collins. Number 11, 5'7" junior Allie Schmidt. Number 20, 5'9" freshman Mara Benvenuti. Again for the Bearcats, it's Mathers, Kegg, Collins, Schmidt, and Benvenuti. I don't need a crowd mic today, Justin Piles.
No, you won't need one after this game either. We're only, I don't know, maybe a halfway full in here. It's going to be packed later. I'm real excited about that. But we even have some students behind us right now making a little bit of noise along with the music. Great atmosphere coming here to Latrobe. Love coming here. It's one of my favorite places to watch a basketball game anywhere. So glad to be here today. Great doubleheader, and we're excited for the basketball we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing some quality players out here on this floor.
Of the quality players from the outside you'll see today are triple three-point shooters of the game. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living. For the Thomas More Saints, Sydney Wainscott is not just one of the best of the conference, but one of the best in the nation. 28 of 50 from the outside, hitting at a 56% clip. For St. Vincent, Elle Collins is 27 of 91, hitting at a 30% clip. Those are your triple three-point shooters of the game against Sydney Wainscott for Thomas More and Elle Collins for the St. Vincent Bearcats. Both teams out on the floor as we're ready for the opening tip. The Thomas More Saints in their visiting blue uniforms with the black numerals and lettering and white trim. The Bearcats are in their home white uniforms with the gold numerals and lettering and green trim. And off the tip, we have a couple of exchanges, and eventually Devin Beasley with the steal. Wainscott from the left wing. We'll pass it off to Moss, wide open for 3, nothing but net, 3-0 Thomas More.
Well, she's talented. We've seen her a couple times this year, able to score inside, able to score outside. The key to this game for St. Vincent, not necessarily to shut her down, because that's one of the, just impossible to do. You want to try and eliminate the secondary scoring from Thomas More and eliminate transition points.
And try to eliminate steals if you can, like Thomas More had right there, but Katie Kitchen could not finish. Mathers to the left side, baseline jumper. Elle Collins knocks it down. It's 3-2.
Now, we talked about Mathers, but Elle Collins also needs to have a good offensive game. Very good outside shooter. Big three-point threat for the Bearcats. When they're rolling, able to collapse the defense, she gets those outside looks. She typically can knock them down.
For 3, Wayne Scott, no good. Rebound, Allie Schmidt. Up ahead to Elle Collins, tight to the sideline. We'll pass it off to Schmidt. Left wing, Jill Kegg. Dribbles in, loses the handle. Stripped away by Sydney Moss. Moss with Kegg on her hip. Now we'll try to slither through defenders. Nice dish to Burgoyne underneath. Kiss off the window, 5-2, Thomas More.
Now, we've seen that so many times. Moss creating space for Burgoyne down low. Nice assist there. Running the floor and able to dish her teammate.
Those two work so well in tandem, Moss and Burgoyne, and has in part led to Burgoyne's breakout year. Of course, all of her hard work has been the other part of that for Miss Burgoyne. Turnover is Mathers out of bounds baseline area. Saints with the basketball, leading by 3. And a lob pass into the forecourt to Beasley. Beasley has her shot blocked out of there by Taylor Mathers.
And Mathers did a good job of not committing to a spot until Beasley went up for that ball. Then she went up for the shot block and got it.
41st block of the year for Taylor Mathers, the 6'2 senior, but the inbounds pass and the touch shot and bucket for Sydney Moss. 5-point lead for the Saints. You can hear over our crowd mic to our right from the scorer's table. From our broadcast perspective, Jimmy Petruska, the head coach of the Bearcats, hollering out directions to his group. Kegg near the top of the key, trying to create some space on Moss, then dish it off to Mathers. Mathers, 16-footer, nothing but net.
Well, St. Vincent making their shots early so far. Looking good on offense, methodical, easy passes, being able to get quality shot even though the shot clock was winding down.
Wide open for 3. Katie Kitchen knocks down the triple, 10-4.
That was great ball movement by the Saints, just working it around until they were able to find the open outside shooter. That's where, we'll talk about Sydney Moss and how great she is, but this team as a whole, there's really no weaknesses, and anybody's a threat to score at any moment.
Evading the pressure, passing it away. Now Collins, straight on look for 3. Off the mark, rebound Moss. 6-point lead for the Thomas More Saints as we're over 3 minutes in. Beasley dishes it off to Burgoyne. Nice look, the foul. Burgoyne will head to the line.
Burgoyne's so good at moving without the basketball. You can see she and Beasley definitely have that unspoken, I'm going this way, and Beasley knew exactly where she was going. Able to hit her with the pass almost as Burgoyne was moving towards the hoop.
Burgoyne hits the first free throw. She averages 16 points per game, the 3rd most of any player in the conference. Knocks down both. She has 4 already. It's 12-4 Thomas More. In the backcourt, Benvenuti, a freshman. Some young players on this St. Vincent roster, but some talented ones at that. Jill Kegg is a player that Coach Petruska has talked about as really having been a pleasant surprise this year, as there's a tip and steal by Wayne Scott. Thomas More coming the other way. Beasley kicks it back to Moss for a long 3-pointer, no good. Long rebound goes to Kegg. Kegg ahead to Schmidt. Schmidt tries to dribble right, finds Collins from way downtown, air ball. Rebound though, Benvenuti gets it to Kegg, caroms the ball off of Wayne Scott and eventually corralled by Moss. Wayne Scott to Burgoyne cutting through the lane, and it's 14-4, 10-point lead for the Saints, and Coach Petruska, the Bearcats, wants a timeout. With the timeout, we'll take a quick break as well. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact Time Ad Productions. TimeAt Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeatproductions.com.
Back at the Carey Center, Thomas More opening up a 14-4 lead. And for Thomas More, it's exactly what you want on the other side of the ledger for St. Vincent. Not at all on your home floor do you want to fall behind by 10. And you talked about the early minutes of this game being pivotal, and so far they've gone to the Saints.
Well, the Bearcats have done a good job of getting the ball up the floor. They're not turning the ball over in the backcourt. The problem is that on the offensive boards, when they're missing the shots or loose balls, Thomas More is doing a great job of taking it and beating the Saints back down the court. We've seen a couple of times where they've had numbers in their favor, and a couple of occasions where one time with Moss, one time with Beasley, they just didn't account for cutting Jenny Burgoyne. Burgoyne got body position, easy lay-in, and that's how she's been able to pick up her points today. She already has 6, Sydney Moss with 5.
Pressure D from Thomas More out of the St. Vincent timeout. Benvenuti in the forecourt passes it off top right to L. Collins. Right wing Schmidt dribbles in, tries to dish it off to Mathers. Does. Nice lay-in off the glass, 14-6. Well, you like that if you're the Bearcats out of the timeout.
And they've tried that a couple of times, and the passes just didn't connect down low, resulting in a couple of turnovers. But that's really where St. Vincent is turning it over in their half-court sets, not really as much bringing the ball up the court.
Sydney Moss fouled by Jill Kegg. Tough assignment, man-on-man for Kegg, and that's the first foul, second team foul for the Bearcats.
Oh, that's the way to defend Sydney Moss. You have to get up on her. You cannot give her space at all. She's so good off the dribble, and I've already seen her pull up for a couple of three-pointers, knock down one of them, so she definitely has range if you give her space.
Burgoyne muscles in for a bucket. 10-point lead again for for Thomas More.
St. Vincent turnover on the inbounds. Beasley will inbound it underneath the hoop.
Burgoyne with 8 points already. Moss off the inbounds pass. Jumper no good off the back of the iron. Kegg trapped in the backcourt now. Passes ahead to Benvenuti. Left wing. Collins up to Schmidt near the top of the key. Beasley brings out the defense. Kegg passes it off to Benvenuti. A couple of St. Vincent players will be checking in momentarily off the next whistle. As Collins surveys the defense. 8 on the shot clock. Wanting to get the ball inside to Mathers, but now a long three-pointer for Kegg, no good. Tall off the back of the iron, Burgoyne with the board. Beasley surveys. Toward Moss, left side of the lane. The leader off the glass. 18-6, Thomas More.
Well, you can't defend that without fouling. It's just an impossible shot to alter. Moss so tall, long arms. Able to go up, good touch off the glass.
With the left hand as well.
Yeah, can't do anything about that.
Well, impossible shot to block, as you said, Justin, and it's now a 12-point lead for Thomas More. New troops in for both sides. Jill Krusling and Alexis Santamaria for Thomas More. Jasmine Weems, one of those in for St. Vincent, and a three-point try, no good for Drew Meeker, the other newcomer to the game. Schmidt, left wing toward Weems. Right back to Weems as Krusling brings out the D. Zone defense here for Thomas More. Heading toward the 14-minute mark of the first half. Inside to Mathers. Mathers over Santamaria, no good on the first try. Put back by Schmidt, falls out. And the rebound eventually corralled by Wayne Scott. And Beasley around a screen from Santamaria will slide left. Wayne Scott inside Santamaria, back out to Krusling. Tic-tac-toe passing, head fake Moss. Has Santamaria baseline, back outside Krusling near the perimeter and knocks down that long jump shot. It's a two-pointer, 20-6.
Another product of the Saints ball movement. Stephanie Krusling just being able to be wide open because of that ball movement. Swung it inside, back outside, open at the top of the arc, knocked down a jumper.
Schmidt, baseline pass to Mathers. Krusling steals it, but out of bounds.
Hey, gotta be quicker.
For Thomas More, any opponent that's facing them, it's you pick your poison. What player do you want to beat you? I mean, it can be Moss, it can be anybody. And that last possession was exemplary of that. Just pass it off to eventually find the shot you like.
And I really don't think Thomas More sets it up that way. I think that's just in the nature of their offense. You know, whoever happens to have the open shot, or in the case of Jenny Burgoyne a couple of times, who happens to be the cutter that receives the pass down low. It's not that they're setting these plays up for individual players to put up numbers or to score, just within the offense, within the system. And they have some good players that when they have an opportunity to score, to knock down an open jumper, they can.
Schmidt misses the first free throw as she was fouled by Alexis Santamaria, hits the second. So she's on the score sheet, the 5'7" junior. Olivia Huber into the game for Thomas More, part of this offensive set. Wayne Scott for three, no good off the right side of the rim. Rebound by Zajac, but the giveaway right back to Thomas More. Zajac with the block on Krusling and a whistle. And let's see here, ball out of bounds off of St. Vincent.
You have to be able to see the passes. Once you grab that defensive rebound, have to be able to find the outlet and not turn the ball over underneath your hoop.
13-point lead for the Saints. Left corner, Huber for the three-pointer, rattles it in, 23-7. Olivia Huber, the talented soccer athlete as well, winning a PAC title with the Saints women's soccer team. Schmidt in the lane, nice cut toward the cylinder.
Must be nice to be able to play on this basketball team in your spare time.
Sydney Moss with the lay-in and the response. Moss with 9. Yeah, that's, yeah, you know what, maybe I'll, as a hobby, I'll play on one of the best basketball teams in the country. Olivia Huber making not only Thomas More soccer team a brilliant squad, but helping out off the bench for this basketball team. We have a blocking foul on the Saints. That sends Jill Kegg to the line. Second foul on Santamaria. And Coach Hands really enjoys the play of Olivia Huber. It's a high motor player. Free throw rattles out for Kegg. And
I don't think you can play soccer and not have a high motor. And there's no lazy soccer players, but I understand what you're saying. And it's good that she can take her energy from the soccer field and bring it to the basketball court.
And you love to have that off your bench. It's just terrific. The depth that Thomas More has. Free throw on the second try. Falls in for Jill Kegg. 15-point lead now for the Thomas More Saints. Tic-tac-toe, right corner for three. Scoops out for Jill Krusling. Now running the floor, Zajac with the lay-in. Now there's the transition game for St. Vincent. Just the way you'd like to play it out. Around a screen from Santamaria, runner for Wayne Scott off the mark. Rebound stripped away by Santamaria, finds Huber. Point blank two-pointer, no good. Rebound Zajac. Schmidt will circle out. Bounce pass inside, Mathers with the spinner. Scoops out, rebound tipped by Moss to Huber. Wayne Scott bounce past Santamaria. Open for three, Sydney Moss spins out. Rebound Santamaria, put back won't go, rebound Mathers.
Well, you like the initial shot being off the mark, but cannot give Thomas More any offensive rebounds as well. And that was a big key Coach Petruska was talking about on St. Vincent's side. They have to attack the defensive boards.
Drew Maker fouled, and now shooting two. Whistle on Krusling. Stephanie Krusling. I believe I called her Jill earlier. Stephanie Krusling for the Thomas More Saints. First free throw good for Maker. And hits the second as well. So the sophomore cuts it to an 11-point game. Huber out to Moss. Right side, Stephanie Krusling. Right corner, Devin Beasley. Feed it out to Moss. She'll try a three-pointer. She'll hit a three-pointer. 28-14, Thomas More.
With the way she can shoot the basketball, it's only a matter of time before she was able to connect over top of that St. Vincent zone.
Ball smacked out of bounds by Krusling. But Collins in a bad way. Didn't have any help. Yeah, she was doubled up.
I need somebody from the the forecourt to come back and help out in the backcourt. Breaking this Thomas More press, it's always an all-around team effort. Even if you're not touching the basketball, you have to be available in case there needs to be a pass or someone getting in trouble.
Trying for a crossover dribble was Meeker. Now Jasmine Weems, a freshman, around a screen from Zajac, past baseline, good head fake by Mathers, shot blocked though from behind by Sydney Moss. Mathers wants the foul, won't get it. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Cruisling back to Moss near the top of the key, around a screen for three. Beasley, too strong on the shot, tall board, pulled down by Collins. 14-point advantage for Thomas More.
Move it up, 2.
Collins angles right, Moss brings out the defense. Collins cross court to Weems, eyes the bucket, she'll throw up a three-pointer off the front of the rim, rebound Moss. Moss, the transfer from the Florida Gators. Beasley, shot blocked in the middle as she falls down to the floor.
Mathers doing a nice job on those shot blocks, being able to read where the shot's going and get the basketball and not the body.
And bounce past the Moss and Mathers, that's been one of her specialties this year, the shot block for three. Huber spins out, rebound Mathers, and quickly ahead to Meeker. Meeker, giveaway in the right corner to Huber. Now she had Collins, but did not see Meeker trailing the play. Now Burgoyne, good, plus the foul.
And Burgoyne saw the shot blocks on the last couple possessions. A little head fake just to get Mathers in the air, picking up the foul and the basket.
3 team fouls on the Bearcats and second foul on Mathers. 4 team fouls on Thomas More at this point. 30-14 our score, and it will stay that way. Mathers with the defensive glass. Up ahead to Collins. Under 9 minutes to play in the half. Collins, nice move off the window.
A little improvising, a little scoop shot off the window. Maybe not how she wanted to shoot that basketball, but able to get it off the glass and getting it to go.
Easy bounce pass to Burgoyne. She'll take the perimeter shot. Rebound to Huber. And we'll back it off. 25 on the shot clock. Now Kitchen in the left corner for the three-pointer. Tall rebound to Weems. Weems trying to feed Collins, and Huber with the steal. And then roughed up a little bit, is fouled on the floor. And then helped up to her feet by the Bearcats. A good sign of sportsmanship there. And that's what we're talking about, Huber. That's exactly what she brings to you. It doesn't matter where that ball is. She's going to find it. And we'll even take some bumps and bruises with that.
Maybe a little knee or kick to the head, but she's all right. Back up.
And Huber from the left wing passes top of the key to Beasley. Slides right. Touch passing by the Saints. Dribble drive by Kitchen out to Huber.
The zone's really keeping the Saints on the perimeter. Bearcats not allowing Thomas More to penetrate at all.
Long three, no good. Rebound, though, Katie Kitchen.
You have to be able to rebound out of the zone, though, and otherwise extra possessions to the Saints. Kitchen known for the basketball there, able to reset.
Moss from the left side, and you're right, it's forced. This zone defense has forced the long distance shots. However, we have a whistle on St. Vincent upcoming. However, as you also noted, you have to claim those offensive rebounds, and they have not the Bearcats.
No, but it's something to build on, and obviously they're going to see him again down the road on the schedule, at least one more time. But even in this game, it's kind of something to keep in mind, even if they stay away from or go away from this zone. Something that's been hurting just a little bit and forcing the Saints to stay outside.
Sydney Moss with the bucket. She has 14. Also, that prior foul was on Mathers as the shot blocked by Burgoyne. Loose ball eventually corralled by Sydney Moss. Mathers just to backtrack with 3 fouls at this point, so that is significant. The 6'2" ball player for the Bearcats on the bench right now with 3 fouls. Huber right at the elbow. Touch passing again. Moss juggles that last effort. Collins gets her hand on it, and now it's Weems. Weems, though, with the near giveaway, able to recover. Has Keg left to the elbow. Thinks about three. Head fake. Gets Burgoyne in the air. Tries to take it to the bucket. Shot blocked. And now it's Beasley who will run the floor. Beasley feeds Burgoyne. Touch pass toward Moss. It is fouled.
Being able to get inside that time in transition. Three Saints in a very small area. Nice touch passing, ball movement, unselfish, back and forth there.
We saw at W&J a couple of times where Thomas More was visiting the Presidents, a couple of times up the floor where the ball never touched the floor. And similar, the ball did touch the floor a little bit there as Beasley brought it up, but don't be surprised if you see something similar at some point in this game where the ball won't touch the hardwood whatsoever.
When we get that kind of ball movement, it just makes the defense shift and overshift, and eventually you find that open look, whether it's underneath the basket or along the perimeter.
Moss hits both of her free throws now with 16 points. She averages 26 points per game, the most of any player in the nation in Division III women's basketball. 34-16 Saints leading the Bearcats. PAC game of the week. We'll have men's action to follow at 4 p.m. Now Collins looking for some space. The relentless D from the zone of the Saints. And nice runner knifing through the lane, Jill Kay. Beasley from the right wing. Benvenuti with the defense. Swing it around to the left side. And it's Kitchen for a three-pointer. Kitchen knocks it down, 37-18. Both of Kitchen's makes have been from beyond the arc. And an offensive foul on St. Vincent. Charge it to Allie Schmidt. 7th foul on the Bearcats. That was an offensive foul, which is why Thomas More is not at the line for a 1-and-1. 4 fouls on Thomas More. Jessica Welch entering for St. Vincent. Beasley walks it into the forecourt. Wayne Scott, good baseline move. Strong take. Sydney Wainscott, known for her work from the outside, but doing a little inside damage.
Yeah, you don't really see her drive to the hoop a whole lot. She's more of a spot-up shooter, receive the pass and let it go, but they're creating her own shot.
Nice bounce pass. Welch shot blocked by Burgoyne, gets it back. Ball knocked out of bounds by Thomas More. Saints, make that St. Vincent will retain possession. Now Wainscott, talking about her, she's 0 for 3 from the outside, but that take on the inside. Good for her first field goal. Missed by St. Vincent, rebound Krusling. But Travels upon the rebound. Ball back to the Bearcats, trailing by 21. Keg gets Burgoyne in the air, heading toward the 5-minute mark. Into a double team, the dribble by Keg, but draws the foul on Burgoyne.
Thomas More foul number 25, Jennifer Burgoyne. That's her first. Fifth.
Now 5 fouls, that one on the floor for Thomas More. Keg accepts the inbounds pass. Long three-pointer, the rainbow, short. Long board goes out to Kitchen. In transition, has Burgoyne and fouled by Jill Keg. And that's the second on Keg. Jenny Burgoyne. We'll talk a little bit more about her in a bit, but we have a timeout called by St. Vincent. This will be a full timeout. We'll take a break on the PAC Sports Network.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Back at the Carey Center, 39-18, Thomas More over the St. Vincent Bearcats. And Thomas More leaped out to a 14-4 lead, and the Saints expanding that advantage as they have moved along, and really this has been par for the course for the Thomas More Saints.
Yeah, they're used to playing with the lead, playing out in front, scoring points in transition. It's kind of been the recipe for success for as long as we've been watching Thomas More, and they've just taken it to another level this year, and that's why they're one of the most successful basketball programs in the country.
Burgoyne, 66% free throw shooter at the line, misses the first. She's already in double digits with 10. And hits another.
Collectively, Thomas More shooting around 50%, 47%, 15-32. St. Vincent just 7-21 from the field, 33%, but the opportunities just haven't been as prevalent as Thomas More due to their turnovers.
Benvenuti. Baseline out to Keg. Head fake on Burgoyne. Bounce pass toward Welch. Baseline left side low blocks. Out to Weems. 10 on the shot clock. Weems with a 16-footer. No good. Rebound Sydney Moss. From a double team underneath her own basket has Katie Kitchen as the ball, though, poked away from behind by Jessica Welch. Elle Collins leads the floor. Has Weems left wing. Weems will put up the triple. No good. Rebound Sydney Moss. Heading toward the 4-minute mark of the first half. Moss finds Kitchen all alone. No good, though. Rebound Benvenuti. Benvenuti will run with it. Doesn't have the numbers. 2 on 3. Out to Welch. Welch with a pull-up 2-pointer. Off the mark, rebound Moss. Now some misses up the floor for both teams. Back and forth. Burgoyne baseline. Foul on the floor. No bucket. This will be a 1-and-1.
Yeah, foul by Elle Collins on the head fake. Then went up for the shot, but whistle already blown, so this will just be a one-on-one opportunity. It's a good call.
Jenny Burgoyne returning to the line. She's 3 of 4 today from the stripe. Burgoyne out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and Macaulay High School. Now with a dozen. Along with her 16 points per game average, she also averages 5.7 rebounds per game. Perfect on this trip, as it's 42-18, Thomas More. Benvenuti. Pass to Keg, now it's Weems. She directs traffic, the freshman guard. Wayne Scott brings out the defense. Keg, right side, Benvenuti. Tries to spin her way in toward the lane, finds resistance from Krusling and backs it off to Weems. 4 on the shot clock. Keg with the floater. No good, but the charging call on Keg. That'll be her third. So Mathers with 3 and Keg with 3. And now Wayne Scott walks it into the forecourt. Burgoyne, left side low blocks off the left side of the rim. Rebound, though, Moss. And then the ball out of bounds off of Schmidt.
Checking back in for St. Vincent with 32, Brianna Zajan.
Wayne Scott baseline inbounds pass toward Moss. Tipped out of there, though, by Schmidt to Weems. The steal by St. Vincent. Schmidt in the lane, won't drop, but the foul.
Thomas More foul on number 12, Stephanie Krusling. That's her second.
Krusling.
Team 6.
Second foul on the 5'5" junior. Puts Allie Schmidt to the line. Now, free throws have not been a strong point for St. Vincent to this stage.
Just 4 of 7 so far from the line. That 5 of 8 now, knocking down the second one.
Schmidt with 4. Pass off the hands of Moss, but recovers. Wayne Scott trying to drive in on Benvenuti. Bounce pass to Burgoyne. Back of the iron. Rebound Schmidt. Schmidt will push it. Weems to the left. And fouled from behind is Meeker. Burgoyne whistled for this foul. Give her 2. 17 fouls on the Saints. This is a shooting foul, so 2 for Meeker. Drew Meeker out of Quigley Catholic High School in the Pittsburgh area, 5'6" sophomore guard. Makes both free throws. She has 4. 42-21 Thomas More. With 2.5. Wayne Scott, 3-pointer from the right side. You knew eventually she was going to hit, and spins that one home, 45-21. Wayne Scott uncharacteristically cold, at least in the early going from the outside, but eventually finds the bottom of the nylon. Nice take there for Zajac of the Bearcats. Makes it 45-23. Wayne Scott drives baseline out to Moss. Krusling back to Wayne Scott. Kitchen crosses over. Wayne Scott dribbles in a few steps. Nice crossover move and the floater back of the iron. Everything was perfect prior to that. Set up her shot, but a little too strong on the effort. Now it's Allie Schmidt. Nice drop into the cylinder. Schmidt with 6. 45-25, 20-point game. We're going to Krusling. Her 3 rattles out. Rebound Weems. To Benvenuti in the forecourt. Out to Schmidt. Finds Weems all alone. Weems knocks it down, and within 20, it's a 17-point contest, 45-28. So a little bit of a run here for St. Vincent.
And you like that kind of momentum heading into halftime, 1 minute to go before the break, and just something to build on for the second half, especially offensively. You've seen St. Vincent have a couple of good open looks early, and then just unable to connect until more recently.
Katie Kitchens put back, 47-28. Inbounds pass to Weems. 40 seconds to go in the half. Left wing. Meeker with the drive in. Finds Weems, no good. Rebound Sydney Moss. Lob pass to Burgoyne. Lets a defender pass her by. Misses on the first try. Fight for the rebound. Possession arrow is with St. Vincent.
Now 27 seconds left. Bearcats can't hold for the last shot, although you know Thomas More, and you know how much they like to pressure the basketballs. Not surprising if they attack a little bit.
Weems. Pass in the forecourt to Benvenuti. Nice bounce look to Schmidt. Cutting to the cylinder to make it 47-30. 9 on the game clock now. Steal by Benvenuti. 5 on the clock. 3. Left wing, got to get the shot off. Weems in a hurried attempt. Short on the shot, but St. Vincent trailing big much of the first half, but a run toward the end of the half makes it 47-30. And Thomas More still comfortably in front. We'll pause for a break. We'll come back and chat a little bit about this first half on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
And we're back at the Carey Center. The St. Vincent Bearcats trailing the Thomas More Saints 47-30. And Thomas More just playing Thomas More basketball to this stage. As we said, it's par for the course to this point. They've opened up a big lead early and have maintained that. For St. Vincent, from their perspective, they were able to edge that lead down within 20, which it's funny to say that that's a positive, but in a sense, against this nationally ranked team, something, as you said, to look at as a positive heading into the locker room and maybe toward the second half.
Well, they were down 24 late in the first half, and it's good to get that little bit of run, a little bit of confidence, and going into the second half. You don't see a whole lot of teams make up ground on Thomas More, even in the second half of games when a lot of the reserves are in. You see the Saints full throttle, they keep expanding their lead, and they end up winning all these games going away. And just to get a little bit of momentum on their side, heading out of the halftime break, I think is good for St. Vincent. A chance to reset, maybe go back over a couple of key sticking points in the game plan that maybe they didn't really address in that first half. They're in good shape right now, down 17 points, but I like the position that they're in, considering some of the more recent opponents of Thomas More.
But on the other side, you look at it, 47 points in the half for Thomas More. They're just a shade under, averaging their 100 points that they've had the last two games. They've been well over 100 the last two contests, and at 47, you double that up. Obviously, they would just fall shy of that in the 90s. But so far, the Saints leading by 17 at intermission, 47-30. And as we've talked quite a bit about these nationally ranked Thomas More Saints, we have a halftime feature focusing on these ladies, and that'll be coming up. We're going to pause for one quick commercial timeout, and then when we come back, it'll be our halftime feature focusing on the Thomas More Saints.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
After winning a 7th straight PAC championship in 2013, the Thomas More Saints and head coach Jeff Hands knew it would be tough to replace the PAC Player of the Year, Allison Long. With only 2 starters slated to return for this season, the perennial powers of the PAC received a major lift in August when Division I standout Sydney Moss announced she was transferring from Florida to Thomas More. After spending her freshman season with the Gators, Moss says she made her decision to be closer to her family.
It was close to home. I grew up, well, didn't grow up, I lived here for like 7 years over by Ryle, which is about 20 minutes away from here. And then my grandma is about 2.5 hours away from here, and I had a lot of family friends and stuff around here, and I loved the area. I mean, I was here since middle school, so I knew I kind of wanted to come back closer. I didn't want to be right on top of, my family in West Virginia, but I didn't want to be, 5 hours away or whatever. And then I didn't want to go to another D1 just because I didn't have to sit out a year. And then on top of that, I thought it was just too much. And
with Moss in the fold and the opening day of basketball season nearing, Hands received more good news when 2-time All-PAC first-team selection Katie Kitchen decided to return for another season. The senior guard had 1 more year of eligibility, but was planning on calling it quits after her junior season because of chronic knee problems caused by 2 ACL injuries. But with fresh legs and the itch to return to the floor, Kitchen reconsidered.
I don't know. There was a lot of different factors that played in, but I would say the biggest was this summer I was still really involved with the girls, and I was helping with the conditioning and still playing at some of the open gyms, and I just couldn't live with myself knowing I had 1 more year of eligibility to play. So I just decided, kind of last minute, classes had already started, But I came in and talked to Coach, and that pretty much sealed the deal.
The addition of Moss and the return of Kitchen has been a boon for the Thomas More Saints, complementing a roster that Hands considers his deepest yet. Moss leads the nation in scoring, averaging 26 points per game, but it's her effect on her teammates that perhaps makes Moss most valuable.
She's a great player to play with. Obviously, she's going to get buckets, she's going to get rebounds, she's going to get steals, but the great thing about Moss is that she facilitates to everybody else. She gets everybody else involved and makes everybody else a better player, so it's not just Sydney Moss, it's the 5 on the floor that she makes a better team, so she's great to play with.
She's been a big difference, because she is very talented, but she's a talented player that also makes everybody else around her better. You have good players that they'll do what they're supposed to do and not get other people involved. She is very unselfish. I think she's probably 3rd on our team assists right now behind Devin and Sydney Wainscott. She might be 4th. But she's right there. She's more a pass first, and then she'll score when she has to, and she'll defend when she needs to, and do those things. And it just she fits in with everybody because of the familiarity with our players of being local and playing AU with them. It's just it's been a good fit for her and for us.
The daughter of a former NFL receiver and single-season record holder, Sydney Moss has been determined to shed the label of being Randy Moss's daughter. She began to pave her own way in athletics at Boone County High School, where she earned countless accolades, including the 2012 Associated Press Kentucky Player of the Year Award. Leaving Boone County as one of the most decorated high school players in the country, Moss took her talents to Gainesville, Florida, to play ball with the Gators. Making an instant impact, Moss was named to the All-SEC freshman team and led the Gators to the Final Four of the WNIT tournament, also earning all-tournament team laurels.
Individually is really fun. I got to play against different players and different teams and, see their defense and stuff like that. And then as a team, I thought went really well. I mean, yeah, we were in the WNITs, but we went to the Final Four. So, I mean, I think that's every team's dream to at least make it to a Final Four, whether it's, in WNIT or the NCAA tournament.
Despite a successful freshman season at Florida, Moss wanted to return to Kentucky to be closer to home. To a college with smaller classrooms and a basketball team with a standard for success made Thomas More the perfect fit.
Like right away. I mean, I played against some of them, and me and Sydney Wainscott were actually friends. We've been friends since like 7th grade, so I knew her. And then, I knew like half the team coming in here. So the first, pickup that we had over, like right when school started, I felt right at home.
For Katie Kitchen, there were a number of factors that led to her return this season. 2 serious knee injuries didn't take the fire out of Kitchen, but the physical pain was taking its toll and influenced the talented guard to make her junior season her last. However, while training for a half marathon over the summer, Kitchen realized that her knees were as strong as ever.
I was training for a half marathon over the summer, and I was like, I feel great. Like, I could play another year, and then I just talked to Coach, and he helped me through everything, and I was ready to go.
She tore her second ACL February of 2012, and she was released and playing 7 months later. You're not going to get over that thing until about a full year. So she had that year, and then when she was training this past summer, now she's starting to get healthy. So now we're a little bit more time away from that surgery date, and it's just she's feeling good, and she's playing well because she knows what to expect. She knows how her body can handle things now. I mean, and there's not a whole lot of pressure. I mean, she doesn't feel that pressure to try to prove to everybody that she's back like she did last season. Everybody knows that she's there. She was still first team again last year as a junior, I guess you could call her, and she's having a very good senior season for us.
Like Kitchen, forward Jenny Burgoyne is fully healthy and the 3rd leading scorer in the conference with 16 points per game. Burgoyne struggled through a shoulder injury her freshman season, but now 100% the talented junior is having a breakout year.
She had the typical ankle sprains and those type of things, but her shoulder is a lot better than what it was last year at this time because she's right now about a year and a half, 2 years removed from the surgery, so she's getting back full go with that shoulder, and it plays a big part.
ranked 6th or 7th in the country according to various national polls. There's a lot of hype surrounding the undefeated Saints, but Coach Jeff Hands is not letting his team get caught up in the headlines.
I know there's people around Thomas More, around the community, that talk about it, and it's great to have. It's a great piece to talk about, but we've never been there. We've never been past Sweet 16. Okay, so we first of all have to handle a very tough PAC schedule. First of all, conference tournament to get to that NCAA, and then we have to take it one game at a time and see how far we can go.
And how far can the Saints go? Well, the sky might be the limit.
I believe in this team so much. We all believe in each other. Coach believes in us. We believe in Coach. So we take it game by game. Can't look ahead. PAC first. Set us up for what's to come, and we have to stay humble with it all. So we'll see. We say it's a destination. It's not a goal. So do what we have to do, and hopefully we'll get there.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West 8th Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet connection, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness, provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
And we're back at the Carey Center in Latrobe. The Thomas More Saints with a hefty 47-30 lead over the St. Vincent Bearcats, and some first half numbers. Shooting percentage for Thomas More, 42%, 37% for St. Vincent. And rebounding, 22-21. Thomas More with a slight edge there, but offensive rebounding is where there's a slight differential. 8 offensive rebounds for Thomas More, 4 for St. Vincent. And you mentioned, Justin, in the first half that the zone defense for St. Vincent had forced Thomas More into some missed shots, but to Thomas More's credit, they came up with some of those offensive rebounds that allowed them second chance points.
Yeah, and some of those missed three-pointers ended up turning into made three-pointers because of that, prolonged possessions and additional shot opportunities. Thomas More really doesn't seem fazed by anything St. Vincent or anybody that we've seen this year throw at him. They seem to be capable of pretty much any situation. Even though it didn't seem like they were really in their element with that zone defense, it bothered them a little bit. They were able to make some of those outside shots, and in that instance, they were trading twos for threes. St. Vincent getting twos on the other end while the Saints were making threes, so they're still able to keep and even build that lead.
Turnovers 12-6. The edge with the Thomas More Saints in that direction as well. So the Saints defense is converted those turnovers into points additionally to help them to this 47-30 lead. The Thomas More Saints ranked 6th in the nation according to D3Hoops.com, ranked 7th in the nation according to the WBCA poll, and we are underway in the second half. Devin Beasley looking for Moss, able to just get that touch pass over the hands of Allie Schmidt into Sydney Moss as she turns and spins it off the window, 49-30.
Like a receiver, able to steal it from the defender and turn, lay it in off the glass.
And that's the trust factor there with that pass by Beasley. She just knows somehow she's going to get it to Moss, and she did. Schmidt, though, with the response, floater fading away.
Those are the kind of shots St. Vincent was able to get off and get good looks with in the first half, in the first couple moments.
Sydney Moss with another deuce. She's up to 20. And ball out of bounds in our direction. Keep your head up, Justin Piles.
I had it.
No, not so much you. I actually had my head down. I was filling in my score sheet. Little did I know the ball comes whizzing past me and a ball player. But, hey, I'm safe, so that's okay. Here's a three-point try by Ben Venuti. No good, Kitchen with the rebound. I just felt this breeze suddenly. Double dribble on Thomas More. 51-32, Saints in front. We are here courtside. We don't always have the courtside look, but we do here at the Carey Center. Some of the different venues in the President's Athletic Conference. Keg for three, back of the iron, rebound Burgoyne.
Love being courtside. Just can't catch a basketball while holding a pen. Just not possible.
Wayne Scott off the front of the rim, rebound to Keg. She'll lead it off to Collins, finds Schmidt hustling into the forecourt. Ben Venuti baseline jumper, no good. Mathers nearly over the back, no whistle though. Rebound Thomas More. Mathers has to be careful playing with 3 fouls at this point.
See if it's doing a nice job of picking when it's time to go in transition. You know, when they have the numbers, that's when they push the pace. They did it there even though they were not able to score.
Outside to Kitchen, dribbles in a few steps, jumper spins out, rebound tipped by Mathers to L. Collins. Hope you enjoyed our halftime feature on the Thomas More Saints. Coming up on Wednesday, we'll have a halftime feature on Taylor Mathers. As a jump shot by Schmidt, no good. Well, we have the Bearcats on the network again on Wednesday night as the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets come to the Carey Center. Sydney Moss spins through 2 defenders, 53-32. Sydney Moss, how can you stop her? Ben Venuti, guarded by Moss, fakes left, spins, passes right to Keg. Mathers, right side of the lane. Jump shot, rebound Burgoyne. Beasley leads the floor, floats a pass in the paint. Moss with a right-handed fadeaway, nothing but net. Timeout, St. Vincent. We'll take a break, 30-second timeout. We'll be right back on the PAC Sports Network.
For generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Welcome back to Latrobe. The Thomas More Saints opening up their lead beyond 20. It's a 23-point advantage, 55-32. And Sydney Moss on fire to start the second half. She already has 4 buckets in the second half. And that last one to marvel at. Keg to Collins, right of the elbow for 3, back of the iron. Moss with the rebound temporarily as it poked free though. Ben Venuti to Mathers. Mathers with the leader. Nice touch off the window.
Oh, I really like Taylor Mathers around the hoop and the way she knows where she is even with her back to the hoop and able to get the kiss off the glass.
Moss for 3. Mathers with the rebound is fouled from behind by Devin Beasley. Beasley with 110 assists this season, the conference leader. Also leads the nation in several assist categories. But she is charged with the foul just moments ago. Now it's Jill Kegg trying to muscle her way in. Wild shot off the mark. Rebound Kitchen. Beasley chased by Kegg behind the back dribble. Maintains it. Past the Kitchen. Long distance triple. Nothing but net. Katie Kitchen with 11. Katie Kitchen, a player that started this season in terms of her points per game a little on the lower end, but really has picked that up as the season has moved along. Scored her 1,000th point on January 8th. As Benvenuti with a lay-in.
She was a couple years ago the primary, or maybe even the 1A, 1B with Allison Long in terms of this offense with the Saints, but now kind of a secondary role, but able to still knock down a three-point shot from time to time. Whenever you have a player like that that's second, third in scoring on your team, you know you have a very deep team, and that's what the Saints have.
22-point advantage for Thomas More. Benvenuti slides back left off a screen. Beasley picks up the defense. Inside pass looking for Mathers, stolen away by Burgoyne. Beasley to Burgoyne. Left-handed lay-in off the window.
Assist number 11 for Devin Beasley. Doesn't shoot the ball a whole lot, but definitely picks up the assist.
And no points for Beasley.
Now, that's typical, though. You know, only 3 shot attempts. Really isn't needed to be a scorer. Just a facilitator and a very good point guard, one of the best in the country.
She could care less if she scores a point because she continues to dish them off to others who put it in the cylinder. This time, Sydney Moss. That's what, 12 assists now?
12.
Now, she set the single game record in the last outing against Westminster with 14 assists. She's 2 shy of her own mark.
You know, that may not last too long.
Allie Schmidt. Now inside to Mathers. D'd up by Burgoyne. L. Collins for 3. No good. Rebound eventually tipped by Burgoyne to Beasley. Wayne Scott gets Schmidt in the air. The floater drops through the nylon. 64-36. Thomas More rolling.
15-6 run to start the second half. Went into the break. St. Vincent a little bit of momentum. Bearcats trail by 17, and Thomas More really blown it open here in the first 6 minutes of the second half.
Three-pointer by Benvenuti, no good. Rebound Beasley has Moss streaking to the bucket. Another lay-in, another assist for Beasley. That's 13. Moss with 28. 28 points, that is, and Beasley with 13 assists, just to clarify.
Assists on 3 of the last 4 baskets for Thomas More, too. Only the Wayne Scott floater she did not have a helper on.
Schmidt, foul. Katie Kitchen whistled.
Checking in for Thomas More.
That'll be her second team foul in this half on Thomas More. No fouls on the Bearcats at this point. Beasley will check out along with Burgoyne and Kitchen, so we'll have to put the assist watch on hold for the time being on Beasley. As Krusling, Santa Maria, and Huber re-enter the game. 30-point lead for the Saints. Jill Kegg with a head fake on Huber, passes it off to Weems. Meeker drives baseline, pass to Weems. Feeds Schmidt. Inside look, baseline, Meeker. Point blank, no good. Rebound, Santa Maria. One of the other benefits for the Thomas More Saints is this floater off the glass, good for Huber, is the reserve players, if you will, near steal by Krusling. The reserve players for Thomas More that check into the game.
Checking in for Thomas More.
In practice, they're going up against the best there is. It's iron sharpening iron, essentially. And they're going against the best there is in practice alone. Makes them that much better, and it's just a win-win situation any way you look at it for the way this program is built for Thomas More.
And with the way this team plays their games, wins their games, they're seeing a lot of minutes, getting a lot of experience, and producing when they get those minutes. So you have players coming off the bench that can produce. This isn't just a team of 5 players, the starters, and that's it. This is a team that goes pretty deep. You see 10, 11, 12 bodies out there, and any one of them is a threat to score.
Baseline, Santa Maria all the way out to Huber.
Got to let the ball move right now. All 5 Saints already touched the ball on the floor. We're back around to the second rotation almost. A jumper by Santa Maria from the top of the lane that just missed, but you just like the ball movement going back and forth, side to side, getting that defense moving. And a couple of open looks that the Saints passed up, trying to find that right shot, that right opportunity. That time it didn't fall, but you really like the way that they play basketball.
Under 12 to play in the second half. Thomas More with a big run in this half to start it, and has opened up the lead even more. Three-pointer spins in for Drew Meeker. She has 7. 68-39. Three-point try, Krusling. Short on the shot, rebound Schmidt. Have to give it up for Schmidt for St. Vincent. She has played a nice game with 10 points and several rebounds and some thievery. Huber to Santa Maria. Now Krusling, 2-point jumper, short on the shot, rebound Weems. Heading toward the 11-minute mark. Schmidt, shot blocked by Santa Maria. Kelly McDonald will run the floor, has Wayne Scott right side. Open 2-pointer near the perimeter for Santa Maria. Knocks that one down. Alexis Santa Maria on the score sheet. Meeker will put up another 3 and hit another 3. Puts her in double digits with 10. Bounce pass to Huber. Steps in and knocks down a 2-pointer. Inside feed to Mathers, and a double team is found. Taylor Mathers, haven't had much of an opportunity to talk about her yet in this game, as she had some early foul trouble. But Taylor Mathers has developed into a major post player for the Bearcats this year, was named the PAC Player of the Week on December 9th, and as well as the ECAC Division III South Player of the Week for that particular week. Set the school's single-game record with 9 blocks against Westminster. So it's been a pretty strong year for Mathers. Mathers with the swish on the second free throw. She'll exit as Zajac re-enters. Well, after Devin McGrath had graduated, somebody had to step up for St. Vincent, and Mathers has been one of those in a big way.
It's still a very young team, very little college basketball experience, a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores on this team. Even Mathers, as a senior, has only just played 2 years of college basketball, so even though she is one of the veterans on the team, still her experience isn't what you expect from a normal senior, but she's having a nice season. The Bearcats, tough day today, saddled with those 3 early fouls. Really hasn't been the same player since she picked up her 3rd foul. She's been in the game, but hasn't been able to be as aggressive, like a shot blocker would be, being able to contest some shots. But she's done an admirable job for the hand she's dealt, basically, with 3 fouls for all of the second half, being able to stay in the game and produce.
Had some blocks early in the game, but as you said, once the fouls accumulated, took the edge off a little bit, and not in a good way.
Yeah, that's the one way you can really neutralize a shot blocker, get them in foul trouble, and then not quite as aggressive. You just can't be as aggressive, especially with 3. If she had 2, she could still be aggressive at the end of that first half. But 3, you're one foul away from 4, so you just have to kind of deal with it and change your game a little bit.
McDonald crosses over, bounce pass towards Santa Maria. Loose ball, eventually corralled by Meeker. Meeker leads the way, pass left side to Hannah Carroll into the game, inside Zajac. We have a foul. Brianna Zajac to the line.
Checking out some other action in the PAC today. A couple of 1 o'clock starts now final. Grove City 65, Teal 55. Wolverines pick up the win on the road. And Waynesburg 92-54 wins over Chatham. One other game along with this, a 2 o'clock start. About the same point we are midway through the second half. W&J 50, Bethany 39. So Bison hanging around with the Presidents. That was a big lead early, and then it was a 6-point game at halftime for the Presidents. Presidents have led pretty much throughout that contest.
Zajac perfect on that trip to the line. Cruisling bounce. Look to the left corner. Back to Beasley. And remember, Beasley with 13 assists, so we'll look to that. Santa Maria floater falls in.
Alexis Santa Maria.
Santa Maria makes it 74-48. Three-pointer by Meeker. No good. Santa Maria with the rebound. Now Beasley surveys the D, has Huber lay in, and that should be it, right?
Check the stats. Yeah, 14.
14 for Devin Beasley, so matches her mark from Wednesday night.
Closing in on the all-time school record, too. Getting close to that.
As she is. And now Zajac with the response. Double check that, because I had thought that I know you have 74 on your scoreboard there. We have 76, so that it is 14. Okay.
Yep.
So 14. One more is the single game record. Beasley, Santa Maria. There is the single game record for assists for the Thomas More Saints. Devin Beasley, 78-50. Now Saints in front, big. Well, Beasley does it twice in the same week.
It's a pretty good week at 29 assists. You still have 7 minutes and change in this one.
And Zajac fouled, and you're talking about the all-time record. Devin Beasley with 403 career assists entering today's game. Second on the all-time list at Thomas More. Shannon Galbraith with 430 is tops on the list. So Beasley chipping away and more than chipping.
With 15 today, that puts her at 418, so she'd be 12 away. She could have had that today if her teammates had just made a couple more baskets. I would talk to them on the team bus if I was her. I think she's thrown enough passes to pick up those assists.
I think you're right. Beasley, I'm sure, has no clue that she's broken her own mark. As the free throw good for Zajac. And now up to 10, Brianna Zajac.
You don't see that line too often. 0 points, 15 assists.
And here comes Weems for St. Vincent. Carroll, three-pointer, the swish. Hannah Carroll. Full timeout here from the Carey Center. We'll pause for a break. Under 7 to go. 78-55 Thomas More on the PAC Sports Network.
Generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Back at the Carey Center, where a little bit of single-game history has been made for the Thomas More Saints. Devin Beasley with 15 assists today, and counting maybe, as she has broken her own single-game mark, which she had set on Wednesday night with 14 assists against Westminster. She has 15 today, and the Thomas More Saints rolling along 78-55.
Checking on the crowd behind us here. We're still some openings in the stands, but expecting a pretty nice crowd for the men's game, tipping off around 4 o'clock.
Devin Beasley will lead the floor out of the St. Vincent timeout. Moss back in the game. Beasley left side. Katie Kitchen. Three-pointer knocks it down. Another assist for Beasley, 81-55.
Katie Kitchen.
Kitchen with 14. Missed by St. Vincent. Rebound Moss. Beasley looking to Burgoyne underneath and finds her for the bucket. Jenny Burgoyne with 17 points. Three-pointer by Carroll. The miss. Ball out of bounds off of Weems. 83-55, Thomas More with 6:15 to go. Glad you can be with us today on the PAC Sports Network, as we'll have an exciting men's contest coming up at 4 o'clock here today. Same two schools and both teams that have been rolling. St. Vincent 13-2. They haven't lost a conference game in over a year, the St. Vincent men's squad. And the Thomas More Saints, after a slow start against a rugged non-conference slate, they have put it together. And now Sydney Moss fouled to the line. Moss free throw gives her 29 today, so over her average. Moss mentioned she leads the nation in scoring, so she'll up that. Team leader in steals with 42, team leader in blocks, team leader in rebounding. You name it, she does it. But as we've talked about, and if the Saints have talked about, whether it be Coach Hands or any of the teammates of Sydney Moss, it's more than just Sydney Moss, as much as you hear about her as the headliner. A very deep Thomas More team. St. Vincent, as you talked about, Justin, a young squad. Taylor Mathers in some contact. Whistle on Katie Kitchen. But
the reaction of Kitchen on the ground, looking up to see what the call was, realizing it was on her and collapsing back down to the floor. Just, you kidding me? She paid the price, but I think that was a block on her. Maybe slid in just a little too late.
Yeah, just a half-second late. Head-on crash between those two players, Mathers and Kitchen. But St. Vincent, you mentioned a young team. Mathers kind of the exception as a senior, but even at that, she's a youngster, only a couple of years of experience on the St. Vincent basketball roster.
Well, I like the way this team's put together, the way they play, and the way they fought here this afternoon, too. They've been down the entire game, have not led in this game, but still running their offense, and it really starts with their coach. Jimmy Petruska is one of the more positive people anywhere around, and anybody around or associated with St. Vincent basketball will tell you that the girls that are on his team, the young ladies, they love playing for him, and put out their entire effort, really, in every game. Such a positive atmosphere, love playing basketball for him. And we've talked not just this year with people, but with past players as well. It's just the same kind of thing where they just enjoy being a part of this team, being a part of this program, and he does get the best out of his players.
Mathers works it to the right to Collins, dribbles in, and a charge on El Collins. Burgoyne draws that one. Only the second foul on Collins. Also only the second foul on the Bearcats in the second half. Under 5 to go. Thomas More working the offense. Top of the key, Beasley in a few steps. Dishes it off to Burgoyne. So fluid. 86-57. Mathers fouled once again. Oh, traveling call first. Would have been fouled, but the feet shuffled prior. Burgoyne up to 19 today after her last deuce, the last trip up the floor. Moss in some space, short on the try. And then Moss, I believe, will be over the back here. And indeed, that will be the case. First foul on Moss today. That has Mathers to the line for a 1-and-1. 18 fouls on Thomas More.
One thing about Sydney Moss, too, just with her high scoring average, a lot of times you see players that have such high scoring averages and you think, well, they must be taking all the shots for their team. They had shooting about 30% from the field, attempting 30 shots to get 30 points. She's 29 points, 27 points. What does she have? 27 points today, 11 to 17 shooting.
Yeah, 29 points. And she's a player that Coach Hands has said that sometimes she's too selfless, where he'll want her to take the shot, but she likes to feed her teammates. I mean, she'll obviously take the open look when it's there, but she's not one of those players that constantly wants to shoot. I mean, she's as much into the game, feeding the ball to her teammates, and it's kind of just the way it works out that she scores so much. Allie Schmidt, no good, off the left side of the rim. Burgoyne with the board, hands it off to Beasley in the backcourt.
I was just looking at our live stats. Has 27, 29 up on the scoreboard, so we'll check that out when we get to the end of the game, make sure we have the right point total for her. But either way, just a tremendous afternoon, already a double-double for her. She has 12 rebounds to go along with her point total approaching 30, so another great afternoon for her. We've probably seen the last of her now with the starters checking out. Line change for Thomas More. Some of the reserves seeing some playing time now.
Wholesale changes now for Thomas More. Alexa Santamaria is one of the names that will be re-entering. The rest, it's a clean slate. And we'll give you those players here momentarily, as there's a steal in the defensive zone for Micah Hignite, freshman player for the Saints. There's Santamaria, baseline. And for three, short on the shot, Hannah Devine. Look to Schmidt. Nice move.
Yeah, she's been a hard worker today, especially inside. It's tough to go against this Saints team because of the size on the inside, the Burgoynes, the Mosses. But Allie Schmidt, really no fear in her. She's taken it to the hoop a couple of times. She's been the leading scorer this afternoon. 14 points for her.
The floater off the mark for Kylie Bartels. Rebound Jill Kegg. 2.5 to go, under 2.5 to go. Schmidt slithers in. Mathers with the rebound and the putback. Seeing some of the good things for St. Vincent here over the last couple of minutes as to obviously why they have been off to a 7-0 start in conference play. It'll be 7-1 once this one goes final, but seeing some of the reasons why they had been off to that 7-0 start. We're at the midway point after today, at the midway point in conference play. Turnover, ball back to St. Vincent. Now we'll see some changes for the Bearcats as well. Hannah Carroll re-enters, as does Jasmine Weems, Drew Meeker, Brianna Zajac, and Kayla Stokenis all in the game for the Bearcats. Foul on Santamaria, her third, as Zajac at the line. In the game currently for Thomas More, you have Emily Pluto, Kylie Bartels, Hannah Devine, who pulled down the rebound. Alexa Santamaria and Micah Hignite. So those are your 10 on the floor for both sides. 1.5 to play. Thomas More will improve to 15-0 overall and 8-0 in the President's Athletic Conference. St. Vincent will fall to 10-5 overall and 7-1 in conference play. Stay tuned in our post game, and it'll be a brief one in transition for the men's game, but we'll hand out our Foster Law Office's player of the game. Hannah Devine for three, no good. Rebound Stokenis. Weems kicks it left. Drew Meeker knifes through. 86-63. And a steal by Zajac on the back end with a minute to play. Meeker fakes left, dribbles right, hands it off to Zajac, tries the left side of the lane. Fouled on the way in. And it's Emily Pluto whistled, her first. .44 to play. Now Thomas More facing their toughest conference test to date and passing with flying colors.
Yeah, I'd say they're in pretty good shape with regards to the conference. First time through, very impressive. Obviously, have to play everybody one more time. Still have to play the Bethany Bison twice. Not yet seen Bethany. That'll be the one team that they have yet to play in the first half. St. Vincent will face Waynesburg. We'll be here on Wednesday for that game. They have not yet seen the Yellow Jackets, so still twice through with Waynesburg. But otherwise, they've had also impressive first half of the season. Looked like 1 and 2, just kind of the way it's been in women's basketball the last couple of years.
Steele Santa Maria, the bucket and the foul.
Through the regular season. Could happen again this year.
Could very well. We'll see how it all shakes out. But to this point, Thomas More has been the king of the hill. And they've been for the last 7 years. And of some of the other finals, you have Waynesburg winners today in women's play, correct?
Yes, Waynesburg 92-54 winners over Chatham. Grove City 65-55 winners over Teal. Geneva Westminster will play tonight. And W&J and Bethany, that is a 66-49 lead for the Presidents with about 5 minutes to go.
The buzzer sounds here from Latrobe, and the Thomas More Saints victorious 89-64 over the St. Vincent Bearcats. We'll pause for a break. When we come back, our Foster Law Office's Player of the Game on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
When you're seriously in debt, you know that feeling. It returns every time the phone rings. Things are out of control. A job you were counting on didn't come through, or you got sick. No matter how it got to this point, your creditors don't care or understand, but I do. It's not too late. I can help. If you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, or frustrated, don't be. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and you do need help. Please call me. There is a way out, and I'll get you there.
Back at the Carey Center as the Thomas More men have hit the floor for warm-ups, but we're still wrapping up our women's broadcast. The Thomas More Saints winning big over the St. Vincent Bearcats today, 89-64 your final, and we'll run through some quick total numbers for you. Taylor Mathers in double digits with 12 for St. Vincent, Allie Schmidt with 14, Drew Maker with 12 for Thomas More, Katie Kitchen with 14, Jenny Burgoyne 19, Sydney Moss, we had a discrepancy with her scoring. We saw 29 with the scoreboard, and 29, is that official as well?
29 on here now.
And that matches what I had, so now it's unanimous, all with 29. So Sydney Moss officially with 29 points today. And our player of the game today, is we'll go quickly to it as we're transitioning toward the men's game. Our player of the game will be one that scored 0 points today.
Yeah, she set a record in the game with 18 assists, but we'll set a different kind of record for being our very first player of the game without scoring a point in the game. No points, 18 assists, 4 rebounds for Devin Beasley, the facilitator, the point guard for Thomas More. Really just all over the floor today. In the second half especially, just seemed to pick up assists every single possession down the floor. So she will be our Foster Law Office's player of the game, and what a game for the Saints. Just kind of epitomizes their entire season up and down the score sheet. Find a contributor anywhere you look.
Devin Beasley shattering her own single-game mark that she set on Wednesday night with 14. Now it's 18. Devin Beasley, again, the record holder for Thomas More in single-game assists. And I'm sure before the season's over, or maybe even before next week's over, she might be the all-time leader in assists for Thomas More. But she is, for today, our Foster Law Office's player of the game. Congratulations to her and the Thomas More Saints. Impressive performance. Again, your final 89-64. Stay tuned or tune back in just a few moments as we'll have Thomas More and St. Vincent men's basketball, and it should be a dandy. Is two teams battling for the top spot in the conference. St. Vincent undefeated in conference play. Thomas More with just one loss in the President's Athletic Conference. That'll be next. So we'll talk to you in just a few here on the PAC Sports Network.